Yeah, this is a mystery, but Isaiah 14 and verses 13 and 14 says, "For you have said in your heart, there's that I word, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God." And then it goes on to say, "I will be like the Most High." You notice he's looking at himself, trying to promote himself up, all the way to the level of the Most High. And just for some thought, the back of your minds, maybe this will hit you later. But the name Michael, remember, who is like God? I will be like the Most High. Or it actually means who is like the Most High. Who is like God? Who is like the Most High? Lucifer said, I will be like the Most High. Who is like God? Well, that's Christ, another name for Christ. In other words, Lucifer was trying to usurp the position of Christ. If you really study into it, really deeply. But that position wasn't available, was it? I mean, God is God, and he said, it's not up for grabs. We're not voting on this anymore. Just like Hitler, Satan thought he could improve on humanity. You know, Hitler, his idea was to improve on humanity by developing this master race. Remember that? Some of you remember World War II. His idea was to eliminate all inferior genetic, inferiorities, and sort of build up this master race, this super race. And that's why for some reason he thought Jews were inferior, but that's obviously not true. But the results in his experiment were death, destruction, incredible suffering. And with Hitler, there was more destruction and suffering, I dare say, than can be attributed to any other human that ever lived. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they've done a study on all the bad guys this world has ever seen, but he's responsible for at least about 6 million deaths. Isn't that right? Have you heard that number, 6 million deaths? 6 million Jews alone. And not to mention some African Americans and some other inferior, whatever he called inferior. The Bible says the devil is the father of lies. And Hitler actually said, and this is a quote from Hitler, Hitler said, if you tell a lie long enough, people are more likely to believe it. And they're more likely to believe a big lie than a little lie. So you've got to tell it long and hard, and you've got to tell them a doozy. Give them a big one, and they're more likely to believe it. So, and this battle between God and the devil is sort of, it's unfair in a way, because the devil can use lying and cheating and harm and killing and all kinds of underhanded, below-the-belt tactics, He can do all kinds of things, but God is restricted to what? Truth. He uses only truth, love, honesty, and so those are more powerful characteristics, but they sort of handicap him, don't they? Can you imagine two boxers getting in the rings, and one of them can only punch in the shoulder, maybe, but the other guy can go below the belt, kick, bite, poke, whatever, use a weapon. That's sort of handicapping himself. Verse number 6, who won the war in heaven? In Revelation 12, verse 9, the Bible says, the devil, which deceives the whole world, was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. But the war isn't over yet, was it? It just moved locations, as we'll see, I think, in next few questions. So it left heaven, because heaven is a perfect place. We're going to all find out about that really soon, I hope. But we'll find out that heaven is a perfect place. There's no room for discord and controversy. Question number 7, how many angels were cast out with the devil? Now, you probably all know this, but Revelation 12:4 is the only place where we get the answer, right? Revelation 12:4, it says, his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. Now, if you had last week's lesson study and you look through those symbols, the key to unlocking the symbols key, you'd look up at stars. What were stars? Angels, right. You'll see that stars are angels. And the number of angels, it just means there was a third of them that went with the devil. In other words, his influence and his sway with even heavenly angels was so powerful, he was able to take 1/3 of the angels with him. Now, what kind of a chance do we stand against this kind of a power? We're going to need a little help, aren't we? This is a very formidable foe. Number of angels. Well, right now, the Bible says in two different places that there are 10,000. In fact, they're both Revelation and Daniel. They both tell us there are 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands. So right there you have 100 million plus thousands of thousands. There's a lot of angels. A whole bunch of angels. And this is after the third. 33%, you have to add 33% on there to get what may have been the actual number before they were cast out. So, in other words, lots and lots of angels. The Bible does tell us that everybody on earth, or all of God's people, have a guardian angel with 6 billion people. I don't know how many angels are attending everybody. But then it also talks about a recording angel who records every deed that you do. So there's another angel. If there was 2 for everybody, that's 12 or more billion angels right there. So anyway, there's a lot of them. We don't know the exact number, but there's lots. Number 8. Where did the war move to? I ended with a preposition there, didn't I? Where did the move? To where? I don't know. How else would you say that? Where did the war move? Revelation 12:12 tells us, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. So we're the lucky recipients of this fellow, this rascal, and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath. Why? Because he knows that his time is short. He has but a short time. He knows, and you and I know from reading the book, if you read the Bible, the very end, you know who wins the war, don't you? He may win a few battles along the way. In fact, he's going to win a lot of battles along the way. But the war is going to be won by God eventually. And the battleground of this great cosmic battle involves everybody. The battleground is actually the human heart, isn't it? Or the human, the mind. It's a battle for your minds. And everybody's involved. There's no neutral ground. And there's no, like Switzerland. Nobody can become neutral. There's no spiritual Switzerland in this battle. Jesus says, if you're not with me, you are against me. So, born in this sinful world, in the condition of sin, you have to make a conscious choice to come out of that condition and follow after Jesus. You're not going to be born and say, I'm not going to do anything and I'll go straight to heaven. You've got to make a conscious step and a decision to follow Christ if you want to be saved. So, no neutral ground. Which leads to question 9. Why did the war move to this earth? Now, why did we get stuck with this fella? Genesis 3:3 and 4. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the middle of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said, the exact opposite, didn't he? He said, Ye shall not surely die. Now, you may be wondering, some people may be wondering, now how did the tree get there? That's not. Now, why did we have to have that tree? Now, there was 2 trees in the Garden of Eden, weren't there? The tree of life, which is the good tree. Adam and Eve were told to eat from this. You all know this, right? And then there was that other tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And we know that this was a test set up. And you're saying, well, why do we have to have the test? Well, apparently, Satan at this time was jealous of God and his ability to create. Because the Bible says he was a liar from the beginning. He was a murderer, Jesus says, from the beginning. And the beginning is a reference back to the creation of this world. So apparently somewhere in there, he became jealous of God and that he wasn't consulted about how to create the world. And he spread the idea, I could have done a better job if I was consulted. If I was in charge, I could do better. I will exalt myself. I could do it better. And if I got the chance, I could prove it. Well, all of heaven heard these accusations. You saw in the video, you saw the sinister devil sort of whispering in everybody's ears. That's sort of how the Bible portrays that, isn't it? He sort of spread this to all the other angels, and everybody heard it. And so they said, I wonder if Lucifer's right. And so God had 2 choices. He could have eliminated Satan right there, couldn't he have? He could have just blinked, and Satan and all the third of the angels would have been wiped out. That was one option. Or the other option was to let it play itself out and let everybody else decide. Well, God chose the latter, didn't he? not to eliminate.